So before too many good plants start to come up, I wanted to talk about four actually, of the main invasive species that we have in our woods. So a lot of what you see here, especially along the trails, is going to be invasives right now. So this one right here is called Wintercreeper, and it can grow as a shrub. That's why you start to see them kind of tall. You see one right there over in the distance. They'll grow like a vine spreading along the ground like you see here, and they'll also climb trees. So if you can see over there in the distance, there is a tree with some green climbing up it, and in fact right here you can see some too. They've got these stickers and they climb up like vines. And bad news bears, they use these aerial roots to stick to the trees and climb right up them, and they can strangle small trees. They cut off the sun from getting to these trees, and they can actually get so heavy that the weakened tree will fall down. So that is Wintercreeper, and you can see most of the green that you see along the trails here is all Wintercreeper. If you bring your attention down to the ground, you're going to see another type of plant. Now, good news, we're starting to see some of our May apples that I talked about yesterday come up. But there's also these vines that is called English ivy. And English ivy, you can still find it at stores where people are selling it as an ornamental. People do plant it as a ground cover, which is just a horrible idea. It does a great job of covering the ground, but it spreads into our woods. And this one will also climb up trees and strangle out the trees and block the sun and get so heavy that it can make it fall down. So you can see they spread via vines, putting out little roots at every node, and if this little tiny bit breaks off and falls somewhere, it will go ahead and grow. So if you want to grow a plant really easily in your house, go grab some English ivy from outside and plant it, and you will soon have flourishing English ivy in your home. But again, keep it out of our woods. The third one I want to talk about is Japanese honeysuckle. And this one is a little bit more dainty than the Wintercreeper. But when you start to see it, you see it all over. And these ones love to climb. They actually, in a couple of weeks, will be putting out really nice flowers that smell really good, which is why people have planted it over time. But it's really bad. Here's some more of that garlic mustard we talked about the other day. This is Japanese honeysuckle. Another one that spreads via vine, putting out all of these roots. And this is a really good climber as well. I find these climbing a lot of our really dainty saplings and choking them out. So let's go see if we can find that. Some Wintercreeper, more Wintercreeper and garlic mustard. I promise you good plants will start to grow here. Here's some Japanese honeysuckle that's climbing like a vine, twirling up this poor little sapling. So if you want to free this sweet little tree, you can untwist it and pull it up. Now, just like the Wintercreeper and the English ivy, if you just throw this into the woods, it's going to grow. You have to bag it up and throw it away, just like we did with our garlic mustard. And then the fourth one I wanted to talk about, so we've talked about Wintercreeper, we've talked about English ivy, Japanese honeysuckle, and now I'm going to point out Vinca, which has all sorts of different names. And this one is another one that you can go and buy at stores, but it gets into our woods and kind of goes crazy. Unfortunately, it is really pretty, so people love it. And that is these little blue periwinkle flowers. It's called Vinca. And this one isn't quite as aggressive as the English ivy and the Japanese honeysuckle and the Wintercreeper, but as you can see from all these purple flowers, it does really spread, and there's not a ton of other plants growing up through it. These are all bad players. The Japanese honeysuckle in this area is the one that I pay attention to the most. See how much it's wrapping around this little sapling here. This little tree is not going to do well because of this Japanese honeysuckle. And you can see evidence in our woods. A couple years ago I went through and freed a bunch of these poor trees, but you see how it looks like this tree has had something wrap around it, like a constrictor, a snake boa constrictor. that is where the Japanese honeysuckle was wrapping around and strangling this tree. So if you're out in the woods and you have a bag and you want to rip up any of these, here's some more of that Japanese honeysuckle wrapping around this tree. It's hard to tell what's the tree and what's the honeysuckle anymore on this one. Bring some clippers and clip these bad vines off at the ground at least, and you can at least make the tree feel a little bit better. So those are the 4 invasives I wanted to point out before everything else turns green. Wintercreeper, Japanese honeysuckle, English ivy, and Vinca.